I was always being told by my parents and by others, my teachers, that you can do anything if you just work hard. Unfortunately, the larger society didn't give me that message. We had hand-me-down books. We were told we were not as good. And yet when I heard Dr. King say that you can do anything and that we want to show that we can use the American way and convince Americans that you children, you Negro children, have the right to the best possible education, I was fascinated, and I decided to go with him to march and to ask that we be given our basic civil rights. And that led to my understanding that even children can make a difference in the world. And it was that beginning that led me to want to be a leader, to want to be an educator, because I could see that people who could think well, read and think and speak well, could convince people to think differently about really hard problems. I came to UMBC because the president then, Michael Hooker, said to me, Freeman, we need to understand the issues of kids from the inner city. We need to understand more about diversity. This is a predominantly white campus. African Americans were doing well in some disciplines, but not in science and engineering. And a number of students here are typically majoring in those areas. In fact, in my state, many know that if you want to become a physician, you look seriously at UMBC. And a number of students were coming here, particularly black students, and they were not doing well. And he knew about my interest in math and science and diversity. When I got here, what I found was that a number of students of all races were not doing well. And if we could figure out something that would help those at the bottom academically, a lot of the black kids, those lessons could help all students. So course redesign is a major theme here. We have redesigned first year chemistry. We've redesigned psychology. We're now redesigning courses in the humanities. And the idea is that students are bored in classes where people stand in front of the room and talk the entire time. Students need to be engaged in their own education. They need to be expected to do much more, to know what they know and what they don't know, to read before they come to class, and to ask good questions, and to be prepared to help other students. It's amazing how much one can learn by tutoring another person. And so when we have students working in a group, whether in a psychology course or a chemistry course, all of those students are gaining much more. And when they get stuck, when they can't understand something, there's the faculty member to raise another question to get them to move to the next level. It is a much more active type of education that we have here, and more emphasis on getting students into the research early, having them understand how you can use technology in the work itself. Those strategies are helping us all with students of all types, of all races. And we are producing leaders, intellectual leaders, and we're producing many students who are starting companies. So I like to think that we represent this notion. You really don't have to be rich to be brilliant. It may seem like an obvious statement, but it needs to be said. Because the more privilege you have, obviously, the better the schools you can go to, the more resources you can have. And so, of course, you should achieve at the highest levels. But what about middle class people? What about working class people? I am saying we need places in this country that are middle class that can be the very best without apology. And for us, it's the notion that it's really cool to be smart. This is a campus that takes great pride in sometimes winning the National Chess Championship, that's involved in intellectual debate, that's a part of the Ethics Bowl, that believes in the Baja competition in mechanical engineering. People get really excited when students publish in refereed journals. And that's what America needs. It needs to tell its children there's nothing more important than the life of the mind, than hard work, than ideas, than using one's brain power to make a difference.